Kid posed with his pilot dad in an aeroplane. Almost 30 years later, they recreated the photo. This man smiles for a photo because a tree he planted years ago stopped a bus from falling. Mike Tyson had a 20-inch neck at the age of 18. Friends posted for a photo on vacation in 1972 and recreated it 50 years later. A mother and her 8 sons all served and all came home. The Mauritanian Iron Ore Train is one of the longest and heaviest trains in the world. Heart surgeon after 23-hour-long successful heart transplant. His assistant is in the corner sleeping. In the 1960s, bars in Turkey employed 8 basketmen, whose job was to take home patrons who had gotten too drunk. The Canadian Naval Diving Academy celebrated their graduation by taking their class picture underwater. An Australian man survived a wildfire by scuba diving in his friend's pool while the fire raged around him. Glasses given to visitors at a zoo so they don't make direct eye contact with the gorillas. Anti-wolf collars are worn by herd dogs to protect them against wolves. Walkways at Ohio State University were paved based on the students' desired paths. Engineers at Northwestern University have developed the world's smallest remote-controlled robot. For comparison, this is the robot on a penny. The biggest horse in the world that ever lived was a Shire horse named Samson, born in Bedfordshire, England, 1846. There is a road in France that can only be used twice a day for a few hours. Then it disappears under 13 feet of water. In 2014, a 3-year-old girl survived 11 days in the Siberian forest infested with bears and wolves, with only her dog for company. She ate wild berries and drank from a river, curling up to her dog for warmth. She was saved when her dog went back to her village and guided rescuers to her. Swim Cool is a tradition where sailors are allowed to swim in the open ocean during a ship's deployment. This woman stole 5 eggs to feed her kids. Instead of arresting her, the police officer brought her a truckload of groceries. This is what we call humanity. He lost his legs in war, but he still has a big smile on his face. He deserves respect. Timur Boggs, 15, chased a car on his bike for 15 minutes to save this 5-year-old girl who was snatched from her front yard. He was successful. In 1985, Gabe Sonia was a school janitor. One day, the principal told him, "I'd rather see you grading papers than picking them up." So at age 39, Gabe started studying. He earned his teaching degree and was eventually named principal of the school he'd cleaned for 27 years. In some Germany cities, you can play Pong with the person on the other side of the traffic light, and the winner has to stand in front of the cars at a green light. Confiscated pens containing cheat notes intricately carved by a student at the university. Each year in Italy, animals are moved to higher ground to graze, but the lambs, being too young, are carried in special pouches worn by donkeys. A cafe in Japan hires paralyzed people to control robot servers so that they still have an income. Abandoned supercars in Dubai. Not abandoned anymore, this is mine. In 1993, a Frenchman named Emile Libre, while driving a car in a remote area of the Moroccan desert, experienced a breakdown and became stranded. To survive, he dismantled the car, built a motorcycle from its parts, and rode it back to civilization. Hippos are hulking muscular tanks, and that their layer of subcutaneous fat is surprisingly thin. How old were you when you learned this thing had a name? Throbber. Why is it called Throbber? So funny that leghead just stops. Okay. A Spanish guy skipped class for 6 years, while still being paid, and was only discovered when he was going to be recognized for his hard work. In order to fulfill Michael Jackson's dream of shopping like an everyday person and experiencing the act of placing items in a basket, a supermarket was temporarily closed. His friends and family filled the store, masquerading as fellow shoppers and staff to curate an authentic shopping atmosphere. An eagle's claw compared to a human hand. During the 19th century, mustaches on women were a symbol of beauty in Persia. 98-year-old mum moves into nursing home to care for 80-year-old son because you never stop being a mum. Pineapple skin resisting heat emitted from a 1000-degree iron ball. People who leave parties without saying goodbye save up to 2 days per year. Kid playing the violin at his teacher's funeral. That teacher helped him escape poverty and violence. Hu Gangzhou, a farmer with a mental disability, built a 7-story building with his bare hands in hopes that his brother would move in. 90-year-old Agnes turns her small village into an art gallery in the Czech Republic. Michael Tolotos lived for 82 years without ever knowing what a woman looked like. Japanese man dives for over a decade searching for his wife, lost in the 2011 tsunami. Morgan Freeman wears his earrings because they are worth just enough to pay for a coffin in case he dies in a strange place. A woman attending her son's wedding was left in tears after she identified the bride as her long-lost daughter. The incident happened in China. Japanese billionaire creates his own private members-only racetrack. Dad creates animals out of his children's drawings, and it's terrifying. There is a fruit named Hala that looks like an exploding planet and tastes like sugarcane. Giant baby John Wilson Webb with his mother. 1909. This baby already weighed 54.5 kilograms at 2 years. Australia testing out glow-in-the-dark roads. A newborn baby gorilla at Melbourne Zoo in Australia gets a checkup at the hospital and shows surprise at the coldness of the stethoscope. Thermal photo of a husky sleeping. Domino's Pizza once paid to pave over potholes with their logo on it, as an alternative to billboards and physical ads. Oh yes, we did. There's a giant sculpture in New Zealand that gives the illusion of being a cartoon piece of paper on a hilltop. Ex-boxer turned pastry chef creates breathtaking cakes that are true works of art. In Japan, sprinklers are fitted underground that spray out warm water to melt away the snow and ice on the roads. 7 girlfriends bought a mansion so they can retire and live together. In 2019, a mother won FIFA's Best Fan Award after she was spotted in the crowd explaining the entire match to her blind son. Earrings for those who cry easily. If an egg is broken by an outside force, life ends. If it's broken from the inside force, life begins. Great things always begin from the inside. The dilemma zone is the term for the area where you cannot safely stop for a yellow light nor reach the intersection before the light turns red. In 1914, a boy threw a tennis ball that got stuck up high in the archway of the Lincoln Cathedral. Over 90 years later, the boy's nephew wrote a letter to the cathedral asking if he could have it back, though secretly hoping the cathedral would notice it and leave it in place. Identical triplet brothers, who were separated and adopted at birth, only learned of each other's existence when 2 of the brothers met at a dorm party while attending the same college. Solzowa village in Poland is a village inhabited by 6,000 people who live on one single street. In Ukraine, there is a resort for asthma patients in a salt mine. The salt helps keep the lungs dry and reduces the asthma attacks. Street artist transforms blank walls into 3D murals of lifelike vehicles. The Norwegian government hires Sherpas from Nepal to build pathways on mountains. It's believed that they are paid handsomely, so much so that one summer of working in Norway equates to over 10 years of work in Nepal. It's important to watch your step in Florida. It's not mud, that's an alligator. Snoop Dogg and his wife started off as high school sweethearts and now have been married for over 27 years. A Dublin grocery store was built on an 11th century Viking ruin. They installed glass floors to allow customers to view the ruins while shopping. Zero Shadow Day is a tropical event that occurs when the sun is positioned directly overhead, causing its rays to strike the ground at a perfect 90-degree angle. Brazilian skydiver took more than 100 million seeds from 27 species of trees to a remote deforested area in the heart of the Amazon region. A Japanese ice cream company made a commercial where they apologized for raising the price of their popsicle by 10 yen, which is roughly 7 cents in US dollars. The first ever selfie taken in 1839. The shadow of a centipede walking is exactly what you would imagine. It takes 3 months to clean the windows of the Burj Khalifa, but as they are cleaned 4 times a year, they basically never stop. I just realized I paid $20 for 1 hour of $20 for 1 hour? What? There are 54 cars parked. Bro was making $1,000 an hour. Parking is a crazy business. I thought it was government owned. Some reindeer in Finland have had their antlers covered in fluorescent paint to avoid car collisions. There's a volcano in the Philippines known for its perfect cone shape. It's so symmetrical that it has become a popular symbol of natural beauty and has inspired numerous local legends. Suzuki S-Xbox, built in 2006. The car featured 2 Xbox 360s, 2 projectors, and 2 flat-screen TVs. Map showing all the sunken Japanese ships of World War II. Third Man Syndrome is a bizarre unseen presence reported by hundreds of mountain climbers and explorers during survival situations that talks to the victim, gives practical advice and encouragement. Undiagnosed schizophrenia. Sea stack showing millions of years of rock layers. The respect and discipline in Japan may be second to none. A tired design lawn in Shanghai with shady trees overhead, a favorite for office workers to take lunch breaks. Scientists believe that the function of the zebra's stripes are to deter insects, so a team of researchers painted black and white stripes on cows. They found out it reduced the number of biting flies, landing on the cows by more than 50%. 2-time Nobel Prize winner Marie Curie was buried in a lead-lined coffin. All of her belongings are stored in lead-lined boxes and will be radioactive for 1,500 years. Out of the 30 fastest 100-meter sprint times ever, only 9 of them were run by a clean athlete, and all 9 were Usain Bolt. A Roman mosaic discovered in Turkey that was so so well made, it preserved the wave of an earthquake without breaking the pattern. Thomas Wadhouse was an English circus performer who lived in the 18th century. He is most famously known for having the world's longest nose, which measured 7.5 inches. A giraffe was captured kissing her newborn baby calf. This is so beautiful. Hot Wheels losing details over the years. I loved Hot Wheels. This is sad. Childhood is gone. The original cars, with their much larger restyling versions issued years later. Pencil shop in Tehran, thousands of pencils, and only the owner knows where to find the right one. This is how people in the 60s saw us living comfortably in space in the future. What's comfortable about this? You cannot see your reflection in boiling water. Similarly, you cannot see the truth in a state of anger. When the water calms, clarity comes. This is Jim Sinegal. Thanks to him, the hot dogs at Costco have remained $1.50 since they were introduced in 1985. 9-hour 14-lane jam after the Burning Man Festival in Nevada. The inventor of Vaseline, Robert Chesbrough, ate a spoonful of it each day. He was such a firm believer of its medicinal properties that he claimed to have consumed a spoonful daily for his entire life. During a bout of pleurisy in his 50s, he ordered his nurse to cover him from head to toe in the substance and soon recovered. He lived to be 96. Blind Great Dane gets her very own guide dog. The most uplifting architectural revival happened in Budapest, before and after. Robert Du Bois, on the day of his arrest for a murder he did not commit at age 18, and the day he was freed from prison by DNA evidence at 56 in 2020. He then sued the city of Tampa, which agreed to a $14 million settlement. In 2019, a Japanese university student studying ninja history submitted an essay in invisible ink, visible only when heated. Her professor gave her an A after heating part of it, leaving some unheated for media interest. A company has developed fake rhino horns that replicate the genetic fingerprint of real ones. Their goal is to flood the illegal wildlife market with these indistinguishable replicas, reducing demand for poached horns and ultimately helping to protect wild rhinos. Artist Simon Beck walks around in snow, creating massive snow patterns. This is Stormy, the newest member of our resort's mountain safety team. She will spend the next 2 years training to become a certified avalanche rescue dog. Just imagine being rescued by that face. In Romania, you can pay for your bus ticket by doing 20 squats. Disabled and elderly people get to ride for free. It's always leg day. Snow goggles. The first sunglasses were used 2,000 years ago by Inuit hunters. The Centennial light bulb. It has been burning non-stop since 1901. Tactical canine helmets for dogs in rescue operations. In South Korea, rainwater is stored and then used to clean the streets through a hydraulic system. The first flowers brought to Princess Diana after her death versus the next day. This is how GM shipped the Chevrolet back in the years. Underwater tunnel connecting Denmark and Sweden. I did not know this was a thing. On November 12th, 1833, there was a meteor shower so intense that it was possible to see up to 100,000 meteors crossing the sky every hour. At the time, many thought it was the end of the world, so much so that it inspired this woodcut by Adolphe Folmy. Arizona iced tea founder explains why he will never increase the price of his tea. We're successful, we're debt-free, we own everything. Why? Why have people who are having a hard time paying their rent have to pay more for their drink? Maybe it's my way to give back. This homeless man's rabbit was thrown over a bridge by a passerby, and he immediately jumped into the river to save her. He won an award, was given animal food and a job, and the passerby was charged. Willie, a parrot, alerted its owner when the toddler she was babysitting began to choke. She was in the bathroom. The parrot began screaming, "Mama, baby!" while flapping its wings as the child turned blue. She rushed over and performed the Heimlich, saving the girl's life. The nicotine and other chemicals in discarded filters act as a natural pesticide that repels parasitic mites. This is why birds are keeping their nests warm and pest-free by lining them with cigarette butts. Just one dragonfly can consume over 100 mosquitoes in a day. Dragonflies can fly backwards. They nearly have 360-degree vision. Their wings inhibit bacterial growth due to their natural structures. They're actually beautiful. This is not stained glass. It's a wing. 3-year-old golden tiger Ava goes viral and the internet can't keep up with her cuteness. Your PS5 can now be used to reheat your pizza. Only if it were true. The tomb of the unknown soldier has been continuously guarded every minute of every day by the US Army since July 2nd, 1937. This stunningly iridescent and rainbow-like member of the pheasant family, the Himalayan monal, is the national bird of Nepal. Astolak Castle, the most expensive dollhouse in the world, estimated to cost $8.5 million. It took 13 years to build. It's over 9 feet tall and has working plumbing and electricity. This is how paint can change a room. My whole life has been a lie. The Swiss Valus Blacknose have been rubbing themselves against the red feeder while eating, and it managed to dye their wool pink. Company creates a speed bump that will only activate when you're driving over the speed limit. Let's see who can drive. 5. In which order should the cards proceed? I don't care, I'm crashing. I don't want to live anymore. In 2012, French beekeepers could not solve the mystery of the blue and green colored honey in their beehives until they discovered that the bees were visiting a local M&M factory. Catcalling a woman on the street in Dubai can result into a fine up to 10,000 AED, approximately 2,700 US. Stark Larkin lived for 555 days without a heart. He wore an artificial heart in a backpack 24/7, which pumped blood around his body and kept him alive. He has received a full heart transplant after getting a donor. Bruce Lee's training routine in the mid-1960s. Fun fact, only 2% of the Australian population lives in the yellow area. 98% live in the white area. Isn't it because they have like a massive ogre or something? Like a Cyclops? Bruce Lee's Iron Fist. Damn, dude, it's mean calluses. Office life before the invention of Auto CAD and other drafting softwares. Boston moved its highway underground in 2003. This was the result. Blue penguins are the smallest types of penguin. Adults grow to an average of 33 centimeters, 13 inches, in height and 43 centimeters or 17 inches in length. Due to their small size and bright colors, they are often called fairy penguins. In Japan, those who arrive early to work park in the parking lot further away from their workplace in order to give way to those who arrive late to make it on time. This is called mutual understanding. The miracle pine is the only tree out of 70,000 to survive the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan. My dad shared a trick with me. To deter his perfectly good extension cords from being stolen when camping, he wraps electrical tape in various spots so they look like they are older and have been mended. Apparently people like to steal good extension cords, not beat up extension cords. Enjoy.